Hi, everybody. Welcome into UnAnchored Boston with Bob Lobel. I am Mike Lynch, and as always, we're brought to you by Cold Springs RV, your destination for all things camping and where? We're in New Hampshire, of course, and by the great George Gray. It's George Gray's Lexington Toyota, 409 Mass Ave in Lexington. We call him the Big Wheel because he gets things done. All right, we are so thrilled to have the final piece of the puzzle of the three amigos. Dino, John Dennis is with us, and Dino, Lobel always has to handle the formal introduction, so I am stepping aside. I have no idea how he's going to introduce you, so don't blame me if anything goes wrong.
Okay, this ought to be good. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, it ought to be good. What do you mean it ought to be good? You went to Kent State. How bad could it be?
Exactly. A couple of golden flashes.
I mean, seriously.
Double teamed.
No, first of all, right there, Kent State.
Oh, nice.
Okay? Paid a lot of money for that.
Yeah. You were there, what, like 20 years? You graduated, what, 20 years before I did?
Okay, just give me a minute. Yeah, I was there a little earlier. You were in the journalism department. I was not. I was in some other. Took me 5 years. I took my degree. You're magna cum laude. Whatever, whatever.
Magna cum lucky.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, anyway,
you redshirted. That's why it took 5 years. Is that right?
You shut the F up. You know what? You got two Kent State guys versus a Harvard guy. Let's just take advantage. You have no idea what my daily life is having to deal with a Harvard guy every day.
Well, you see, if you combine the IQs of the two Kent State guys, they might add up to the IQ of the Harvard guy.
That's not the right answer, John.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right answer.
I'm just trying to suck up to Lynchy so he'd be nice to me.
Okay, well, good luck with that. I've been trying to do that for years. You're born in Pittsburgh. I somehow knew that. I know you went to Kansas City. I know you worked at WDAF.
Right.
You went from DAF, Kansas City to Boston, and Channel 7. And then the interesting thing, and Lynchy, I think we both started in radio and went to television. Dino started in television and went to radio. It was really, and you had two different careers in Boston, John, and you impacted it in different ways. On Channel 7, when we all competed, it's 6:20 every night or whatever. Right. We all got 7 minutes or 8 minutes or whatever it was for sports. And then you went to radio, and it changed your whole life. It changed your whole persona in Boston. And I would ask you, and I'd say Lynchy and I would both agree, radio was much more fun than television.
No question. And in fact, you guys did it the smart way. You did radio first, which teaches you how to think and speak and be extemporaneous. Television, I started there and didn't get to be a better broadcaster until I got to WEEI. And with all due respect to television sportscasters and you and me and everybody, the fun part of that job, in my estimation, I think you might agree, for Mike, it was the reporting part, certainly the high five going out in the field and doing it. And Bob, it was interviews and, your iconic thing with Ted and Bobby and Larry. That was the fun part. Sitting on the set every night and saying, this team beat that team by this score. Here's a highlight. Given enough bananas, you could train a freaking chimpanzee to do that. So you guys did it the smart way. You learned how to be good broadcasters in radio, and then you took that to television. I sucked as a television broadcaster and then learned to broadcast and think on my feet and talk extemporaneously on the radio.
Which was
why do you say you sucked on television? You didn't suck.
Well, you guys kicked my ass for like 20 years. That's why. Think about this. You guys were the New England Patriots, if I can make this analogy. Both of your operations, 5 and 4. If memory serves me correct, I'll start with you, Bob. It was Tony Pepper and Jack Williams, and then it was Liz and Jack forever as your teammates.
Correct.
You, Lynchy, had Chet and Nat forever. I had, believe it or not, you won't remember this, I started with the great John Henning, who I respect immensely, and Jack Cole. And then it went to the dream team of Tom Ellis and Robin Young. And then it went to R.D. Saul and Kate Sullivan.
I remember.
Then it went to some idiot from the Midwest. I have no idea what his name was, and Deion Willis. So essentially, you were the Patriots, and I was the Cleveland Browns, changing coaches and quarterbacks every 15 minutes. So we had no chance.
Kate Sullivan was not a bad pick.
On several levels.
Say it, John.
Yeah.
No, that makes total sense. I remember when Tom Ellis and Robin Young, when they put that together, they felt that, it was an experiment, but it made all the sense in the world because these were two extremely popular personalities.
Right. And that too did not work.
And for some reason, it's all about chemistry and how you interact on television, and it's within that box that we're in, that same box we're in now. When you're on radio, you have all the freedom in the world, and especially with you're working a guy like Callahan and Minahan and other guys that really you can feed off of, and you know what I'm saying. It's open the doors, open the barn doors. Everything's on the table.
Yeah, everything was on the table for a while, and then when the woke wave started happening, then you really had to be careful. I mean, if you talk to comedians like Lenny Clark or Dennis Leary, or you talk to other broadcasters, it changed, about 10 years ago. You could say things and people would laugh and say, oh, it's kind of, rude to that group of people or that person or whatever. And then it began to quickly transform into this woke situation where every single day, a small group of very vociferous, pissed off people woke up every day and said, what can I pretend to be offended about today? What can I pretend to be offended about today and take somebody down? And that's when it got much less fun. And that's about when I said, you know what? That retirement door is not far away.
Let me ask this, John. How many news directors did you have at Channel 7?
Oh, geez. Just off the top of my head, I would say 6 in 20 years.
Yeah.
And
that's it's for people, that not in the business. You have to adapt your style because that person could want a white guy like us, could want an African American, could want an Asian person, could want a woman, could want a young person just out of college. So you kind of have to adapt a little bit. I'm sure a number of times.
It's not unlike a quarterback with a new offensive coordinator every year.
Yeah.
You've got to learn a new system. You've got to learn a new style. You've got to do it his way because, he was successful in Cedar Rapids or whatever. Now he's coming to Boston and he thinks he's got all the answers. So then you got to change.
Silence, Bob?
No, listening to what John said, and I was thinking about his partners. I mean, I worked with Upton Bell. So Upton Bell took a lot of, brought a lot to the table that I didn't, and I was able to use him on the talk show, and it worked. You had Callahan.
Yeah.
And talk a little about your relationship with Jerry. I mean, I remember him coming on Sports Final and telling him never should go. Why did you go to Sports Illustrated? The stupidest thing you ever did. You should have stayed with the Herald.
Yeah. It was great. And it transformed, sort of like a marriage. I mean, it's 20 years. We spent 20 years together. And so it had its up and down, but mostly all ups. Unfortunately, and I don't mean this in a bad way, from a broadcast standpoint, our views were very similar, and certainly in terms of politics. We were both sort of, right of center. Some would say right of Attila the Hun, but we were both very, very similar in that regard. It might have been better had there been a liberal next to me or a liberal next to Jerry, but we made it work. And the thing I think that made us most successful is we weren't locked into just doing sports every single day. Red Sox, Bruins, Patriots, Celtics. We decided at the very beginning that we were going to talk about what people were talking about, otherwise known as water cooler subjects. And that's sort of what we hung our hat on. Obviously, if whatever sport was in season, we were focusing on that, spent a lot of time on that. But if something was happening outside of the realm of sports, we were more than happy to delve into it. And that occasionally got us in trouble, but it also sort of made us have an edge and I think some sort of, connectivity with a certain group of people out there in Boston.
When we were coming up through radio into TV, for lack of and no disrespect to radio was kind of like AAA, the minor leagues, and television was the major leagues. Then somewhere when you went to EEI, it shifted, and the major leagues became radio for a while. Is that an accurate assessment?
Well, I think on a local level, you're exactly right. And as Bob said earlier, we'd have our 7 or 6 minutes, which is like unheard of these days. Yeah. And it began to dwindle, until at the very end. I mean, I don't know when you guys finished your careers, what was your 11 o'clock time frame? 3 minutes, maybe? Not even.
2:45.
2:45.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously your creativity, your ability
We
to
got
communicate was
sports.
really mitigated.
Sports was much more interesting on Channel 4, so we got 4.
Right.
You got
Much
4
more.
minutes. Exactly. So I think just by design, just by the fact that they reduced the number of minutes and the things you could do other than, this team beat that team by this score and here's the highlight, sort of took television local sports out of the picture. And then, of course, ESPN and NESN, there are a million other ways to gather content that weren't there when the three of us started in the 80s.
So let me ask you this. Financially,
take over. Why'd you just take over the show, Mike? It's okay.
I'm trying to, but because the last time I paused.
No, I'll raise my hand when I'm ready to ask.
Financially, it really became the Major Leagues Radio, right? Compared to television.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to get into too much of that, but it was okay. It worked okay. New shoes for the kids every single fall before they went back to school.
Yeah. I would just say, wow, I never thought I'd see the day when it tipped, right. And radio was here and television was here in terms of salaries. Except
I'll give you guys $1 if you can tell me who Jerry and I replaced when we first showed up at WEEI, and I'll give you a hint. They started us at 10 to 2, and the second hint was we weren't replacing a local show. I'll give you $1 if you can tell me who it was we replaced. I'll give you 10 seconds to figure this out. I know you won't get it. Any ideas?
No, I would have said Ordway. There's nothing in there.
No, it wasn't local. It was a syndicated national show.
ESPN.
The Fabulous Sports Babe.
Oh.
Who wasn't so fabulous, actually.
So when you went there, did you think you were taking a high risk? I mean, you were taking a chance. This could blow up in 6 months. And
sure. Yeah. Like any new venture, whatever it is, you're saying, "Oh, this may be fraught with pitfalls that I don't see." It seems like a good idea. Jason Wolf convinced Jerry and me that it probably would work, and given some right direction, both of us had to adapt. I mean, think about this. We were rookies in radio. I had never done it before. I mean, I'd done some at Kent State, but I'd never done talk radio before. Jerry had, been a print guy all his life. And so there required a certain amount of adaptation and a learning curve that Jason Wolf, said, I think both of you guys can handle it. And over the course of, a year or two, we sort of got comfortable with it and learned how to do that business, which again is much different than anchoring the sports on the 6 and the 11 o'clock news.
Yeah. Jason Wolf, one of my interns, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny. Was he a good intern?
Very good.
Okay.
And Tony Maserati,
wow.
Kyle Ravitch, Matt Smith, Paul Lucy. We had like one year we had all those guys that were in at once, and I just sat back and put my hands behind my head and let them do everything.
One of Bob's interns was Red Barber, by the way.
This is great. We can give it to him, Dino.
I know we can.
I got to put up one of my favorite pictures of all time when the three of us playing golf.
Oh, yeah.
I thought this was at Neshotic. He thought I was at Charles River. So
no, it was not Neshotic.
Charles River, I think.
Are you sure it wasn't? I don't think they would have allowed the three of us into the country club to take this picture, did they?
We had one at the country club.
I think this might have been the country club somehow.
It might have been.
But it doesn't sound, like they would allow us to do that. My second choice would be Charles River.
Why don't we just say
I think Charles River, and I think Sean McDonough might have been our anchor. Yeah.
Oh, then that might have been Woodland then. That was his place, right?
Yeah, but this was for an article in, I don't know, golf, whatever, some magazine.
Wow, look at what year do you think this was, guys? 80, early 80s?
Yeah, it's a little scary, actually.
It is.
I didn't become the Monday to Friday guy until September of '85, so it was, a little while after that.
Oh, wow. Okay. I really like my Conehead Bank of Boston hat there. That's really
impressive.
God almighty. Jeez. Oh, doesn't aging suck?
It does.
It does.
It's a great picture, and I think
it is a great picture.
All right, so Dino, I'm gonna ask you right here. There were little boxes in the article they put out. Favorite golfer, favorite course, best round you ever had, and you wrote down Oakmont 73. You shot at Oakmont.
No, I never shot 73. It might have been 1973.
Maybe you misunderstood the
kidding me?
question.
Then
Well,
I
that's
was
it.
lying.
That's what I said when I saw the 73 from Dino. I said, he shot 73 at
That's
20 Miller shot 73 at
I've never shot 73 in my life at Starland in Hanover. For God's sake. No, that's had to be a misprint or I was lying. Something. Really?
Oh my
Wow.
God.
No.
Can you believe how much attention we got? We really didn't deserve it, but people would just like come at the Garden. The guy Stevie would always come up with an extra seat for
Extra
it.
chair, exactly. Stevie.
You never paid for a popcorn or a piece of pizza when you walked in.
Yeah.
And boy, life was damn good, wasn't it?
It really was, and it was very nice. And it's funny, the further you get removed from it, and I'm really removed from it since I spent half the year in Florida, the less often you are recognized on the street.
Yeah, right.
To the point where it's, for me, it's almost zero now. It's got to be some old person who somehow was one of 10 people who watched Channel 7 in the day.
There is an age difference that you definitely notice.
Yes.
You see this 20 plus woman walking down and say, "Hi, do you know who I am?"
Yeah, some dirty old man. That's who you are. See, I figured this out. Life is like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes.
It does.
I think I stole that from somebody, but I don't recall who I stole it from. But that's exactly true.
If you used all these lines on Channel 7, you'd still be there right now.
Oh, God, please, no, thank you.
What lines did you use with Kate Sullivan? That's the one I want to know.
Lobel cannot get that out of his head now.
I know, huh? Sounds like you might have had a...
Why don't you just calm down, John? Don't start judging me, okay? Don't judge me.
Sounds like you might have had a cocktail or a drink or a dinner with her.
No, this is like Tropic Thunder. Don't judge me.
Okay. Dino, where did you get the nickname Dino? Where did it come from?
It was from Brockton, Massachusetts. I was one of the first people to give extensive coverage to Marvin Hagler.
Yes, you were.
And Pat Petronelli.
If you cry, high marks for that one, for sure.
That was about the only thing I held any dominance over you two was my relationship with
Shut up. That's not true.
And Marvin. It's true.
Being passive aggressive.
No. It's true. And there was a boxer of little renown fighting out of that Petronelli Brothers gym on I forget the street in Brockton. Named
on top of the hardware store.
Exactly. The top of the hardware store. You had to climb up like 20 steps to get there. His name was John Dino Dennis. And
really?
It was John Dino Dennis. In fact, I had the poster somewhere stuck in a box. And for some reason, I know. They gave me the poster and said, "Hey, look, it's the same name as you." And I took it and put it back in the studio or back in the office at Channel 7. And somehow from that to me stuck with John Dino Dennis. He actually fought for the heavyweight title and got his ass kicked, I think. But I'm not sure who he fought. But he was a big guy out of Brockton, John Dino Dennis.
That's pretty cool because that name is still with you now. It's got to be 40 years at least, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
He was. I was going to ask you. This probably is the answer. Most unique character you covered was Hagler up there.
Yeah, and complicated because at the end it was such a dichotomy between who he was before he won the championship and even after he won a couple, where he was like this Spartan. He trained out on the tip of Provincetown in the dead of winter, and nobody was there, and it was just Goody and Pat and Robbie, his brother, and a couple of sparring partners, and I would go out there. I actually took my daughter out there, Emily, with a drive all the way up to Provincetown to do a piece with him about working out in the winter, in the dead of winter, in the darkness of Provincetown. And he denied himself alcohol. He denied himself anything that did not contribute to his greatness. And he just lived a Spartan life. And then after he finally became successful and he beat Alan Minter and started beating everybody. I mean, Willie the Worm Monroe and those guys were nothing. But once he got to the championship, then things changed. And it happens to a lot of famous people, not just in the world of sports, where, he started, I don't want to speak badly of him, but everybody knows he then started chasing his nose around town a little bit. Yeah. I would get phone calls because people knew that we were close and said, "Tell your guy Marvin, don't leave his white Cadillac in front of XXX Street in Brockton, which is a known drug house. And so it kind of went south after a while. And it really got interesting when he was missing this was between fights, obviously. He was missing for 2 or 3 or 4 days. And Goody and Pat called me and said, can you come to Marvin and Bertha's house here in Hanover? He's finally home. He's sleeping it off. When he wakes up, we want to confront him and have an intervention with him about his cocaine use. And I said, well, I guess so. So I went, and it did not go well. And he got very angry. And that's about when our relationship ended at that point. And that's about when he and Bertha's relationship ended. I think that was the time that she took a rock and smashed the hood of his Porsche with a rock. So it was complicated. And rest his soul, you know, I'm very sad. Was there very sad to hear of his passing, but man, he was great. May I add another story?
You may.
I don't mean to take over your podcast here, but I was going to ask you.
Everybody else does. So why should you be?
Okay, good. I was going to ask you without taking over your podcast, what was the three of our most memorable Boston sports moments that we witnessed? You know,
John, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I've written down about 5 or 6 of those actually same questions.
Excellent. You're well prepared. So when I was thinking about it from my own standpoint, I thought, you know, the key here is that you saw in person. You know, the Patriots 28-3, you know, overcoming Atlanta was.
Can I read this, John?
I wasn't there.
Can I read this to you?
Go ahead.
Because it's really it's involved in that. I'll just say, in 1979, Larry. Okay, this doesn't mean it's one particular event, but it creates a series of events. So in 1979, Larry Bird joins the Boston Celtics.
Mm-hmm. That's junior eligible.
That is certainly a dynamic that carried through much of our careers.
Sure.
Number 2 would be the 1980 USA gold medal win in plate plastic.
Yep.
Number 3 is the 86 Buckner game versus.
Ooh.
Okay,
yeah.
These are all significant things. The next one was the 2011 Tuck Rule and Vinatieri pick and huge game. It decided so many things about the Patriots.
Absolutely.
Created their dynasty. Then the Patriots' first win in the Super Bowl in New Orleans. And then, of course, the Red Sox first win in 2004. So those are the events that I put together that are just kind of like in the way of what you're saying. You're talking about one particular event. I'll let you take the floor on this one. And then we can stick to your definition of what you want to ask, but they're very similar.
To your point, the three of us were quite blessed to witness and cover the halcyon days of Boston sports. I mean, truly, with the exception of the Celtics run, you know, back in the Stone Age, the Bruins won 3, the Celtics won 4, the Sox won 4, the Celtics won 5, and the Patriots won 6. Think about that. That's from 1981 until about now. I mean, that's unheard of. And we were there right in the center of it. But my question is, what particular event did you witness in person that was, you know, the most memorable thing that to this day I can remember every single thing about it? I'll start if you guys want to think about yours.
Go ahead, Dino.
Mine was April 15th, 1985. Any guesses? I'll give you location.
I do. It's Marvin Hagler and Thomas Hearns.
Caesar's Palace, Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hearns. Yeah. The build up to that was unbelievable. And Marvin always had his shirt on, destruction and destroy. And I said, Marvin, isn't that redundant? And he said, what's redundant? I said, never mind. Anyway, that night, I sat between, ringside, by the way, at Caesar's Palace, watching this Hagler Hearns fight, between John Madden on my right and the late, great Bob Newmeyer on my left. And sitting on Newmey's left was Lee Montville. And we were out there for a week. And the buildup was, I mean, it was palpable. And just before the fight began, Lee leans over, looks down the row at the three of us, Newmey, me, and John Madden. He goes, "Are you nervous?" I said, "Yeah, I am. I'm nervous sitting here watching. I mean, I'm nervous watching this thing." Well, the first round is, by almost everybody's account, the greatest first round of boxing that the sport has ever seen. ever seen, back to Dempsey and Jack Johnson. And it was unbelievable to watch. And then in the second round, Marvin had a cut kind of right to where the beginning of your eyebrow starts. And the blood's coming down and they're slugging it out. And Richard Steele was the official, the referee. And he stops the fight and they bring in Dr. Flip Homansky. See, these are the details I remember specifically. They brought in the ring Dr. Flip Homansky, and this created one of the greatest quotes I've ever heard in my life. The doctor comes in, he wipes the blood away and looks at it. He goes, "Marvin," he says, "can you see?" And Marvin looks at him and says, "I ain't fucking missing him, am I?" and Marvin went on to knock him out, and it was quite the event. And of all the things I've seen in person, that was number one.
Well, I wish I was there because my middle daughter Molly was due April 1st. And so we're hanging on, and we're leaving April 8th for the fight. Mm-hmm. And so she wasn't born until April 10th. So Jack Edwards got to go.
Yes.
And I watched it at the Garden on closed circuit.
Right. But Numi was there for you, right, Bob? Numi was there for.
Numi was there, but Numi thought it was the greatest event he's ever seen.
It is. It was.
Other than Timely Rider. But Numi was so into that fight. It was just like you, John. I would have to say that, and I say this as Numi's passing, he might have picked that same moment as the greatest moment he's ever seen.
And the nice little coda to the whole thing was, I don't know if you recall Tommy's little brother, this skinny little bitch of a kid, just mouthing off the whole time. Tommy was feeding the Bob Arum press conference stuff with, perfunctory stuff that he should, as was Marvin. But his little bitchy little brother, skinny little kid, was yapping all the time at Marvin. "We're going to take you down. You're going down." And even at the beginning of the fight, when they're doing the officials, the referee's instructions, he's yapping in the corner. And he's going like this. He's waving by. He's going, "Bye, Marvin. Bye, Marvin. It's almost over for you, Marvin. Bye, Marvin." And he was the guy that had to drag Tommy Hearn's limp carcass over to the corner and try to prop his ass up on the stool when it was all over. So that was a nice coda to the whole thing.
What was yours, Lynchy? That's a great moment. And
that would have been it if Molly popped into this world when she was supposed to. But having been to the first Patriots game ever in September of 1960 against Denver, and seeing all their futile attempts and everything that you'd watch a Patriots game like this, they'd run for a touchdown, then you go like this. Where's the flag? Oh, there it is. Okay, it's coming back. So when they finally beat the Dolphins in Miami in January of '86,
squish the fish
to win the AFC Championship,
right,
and going to the Super Bowl, I just stood there, and Jack Edwards to this day said, "Lynchy, you just stood there and said, I can't believe the Patriots are going to the effing Super Bowl.
Exactly.
I can't believe the Patriots." It was pouring rain. Remember that at the end of the game?
Yes.
The whole week it rained when we were down there.
Right.
But to me, that was just because I had seen so many failed everythings from off the field to on the field, that this was something that I found incomprehensible.
But it went all downhill from there. But the person I felt the happiest for in that moment was Hannah.
Yeah.
He had been through so much.
Right.
He played his ass off for so many years and was just a force. And he was like an ebullient little kid in the locker room. He was giggling. It was almost like, that's John Hannah. He was so happy that they had finally gotten to the summit.
Just think of what they had to do to get there, to get to beat Miami.
On the road, 1, 2, 3.
Right.
They had to go to Oakland. Remember, that was their last. That was the Matt Millen.
Right, and Pat Sullivan thing.
Yeah, Pat Sullivan. Yeah, that was on LA Coliseum.
Now Millen whacked Pat with his helmet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Swung his helmet. I don't know if he hit him, swung his helmet at him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. And Louis Assad was the alleged security director.
Yeah. Oh man, we are dating ourselves here, aren't we?
Bob, what was yours?
Well, I'd have to, saying all those things. The whole thing that I wrote down was really impressive. The 80 Olympic team, not having been there, but having been.
Yeah, but it wasn't here.
It would have to be the 2004 World Series.
Sure.
The Reds won their first in St. Louis.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that moment. I remember I collected dirt from the mound and the cup, and being a fan myself at some particular level. So I'd have to be, I think all three of those are worthy of consideration. Everybody would say, "Yeah, I remember that. I remember that great moment. I remember that Super Bowl, and I remember the Hagler Hearns thing." So I would have to weigh in with the 2004 World Series.
Here is my least favorite, but still most memorable moment. It was the Red Sox and the Mets and the Buckner play.
Oh,
And they had it all sewn up, and we were going to go live back to Boston. And I'm down in Shea Stadium, in the bowels of Shea Stadium, literally standing next to, I forget who was there. It doesn't matter. Outside the locker room door. And my cameraman's there, and we're getting a live feed back to Boston. And I've got all my verbiage lined up. Sons have become fathers waiting for this moment. The Red Sox have finally, blah, 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 blah. The whole thing was kind of, casually rehearsed in my mind of what I was going to say. And then I'm standing next to a New York City police officer who had a transistor radio up against his ear. Can you turn this up? And he turned it up, and we're listening to it. And then it all goes to shit in a hurry. And I'm looking in there, and I can see they have the plastic over the lockers. They have a pallet of champagne. And Mrs. Yockey is standing there, I think, with Bob Costas.
Yes.
Getting ready to stand there. She's in there, and she's
in the trophy.
at that point. And I'm ready to go live, and then it goes into a dumpster fire, and it all goes to shit. The first person I see walking up the runway toward the locker room was Dwight Evans, and it looked like somebody had killed his dog. It's like, and everyone, and so now it happened so quickly. They ripped the Visqueen down. They grab Mrs. Yockey, and they kind of gingerly take her out. And they did not have time to get the champagne out of the Red Sox locker room. And they took this big blue tarp and they threw it over the champagne. And as we went in there, and everybody's crying and upset and just really, messed up, you could smell champagne in the room coming out from under the tarp. And of course, then I had to completely revise everything I was going to say and say, well, they screwed it up again, everybody. That was a bad one.
It was.
We were all there.
The game
and the thing is that how we found out what actually happened was from that cop with his transistor radio in his New York accent. He goes,
"That's right.
The ball went through Buckner's legs. The ball went through Buckner's legs. We won. We won." And we went, "What?" Because no TVs, no monitors.
Nope.
And it just the thing that struck me down there and saying, "Damn, this inning is taking a hell of a long time."
Yes.
And and you're right. Evans was the first pair of cleats because they were on the wooden planks coming down.
That's right.
He went in the locker room, fired his glove, a couple F-bombs, and we all were going, "Oh, geez."
Yeah. Getty was crying. Oh my God. Yeah. Boggs was crying. Yeah. Oh, here's something strange. A strange postscript to that. When Buckner decided to move out of town, he lived in Andover.
Yes.
I went to his house to do a little goodbye piece with him, and he agreed to do it. And when I get there, he's cleaning out his garage, like throwing stuff in a trash and putting other stuff aside that he might want to sell. And he's going through this box of stuff, and he pulls out gloves and hats and armbands and a pair of spikes. He says, "You want these?" And I said, "What size is he?" He goes, 10.5. I said, "I'm 10.5. You want these?" And I said, "Bill, just out of curiosity, would these be the ones? These be the ones?" He says, "I'm not sure, maybe." So I maybe had the spikes.
Do you have them?
The ball went through.
Do you still have them?
No, I have no idea where they are.
Burn them.
Yeah, burn them.
Hey, Bob Lobel, by the way, if you did this much research when you were working, you'd still be working, by the way, with all these great moments, all those other lists you have.
I'm trying to cover for you, Mike. I'm just trying to fill in the blanks for a kid that went to Harvard. I'm just trying to get the background work.
The dummy at Harvard.
Think of me as an intern working for you. That's all. All I can remember, Dino, over that night, that the game was on our air. I don't know if we were ABC or CBS in particular.
NBC.
NBC. Yeah, it was because who had the great call? Buckner, the ball goes through Buckner. Vince Scully.
Vince Scully.
Yeah.
Right. And all I can remember saying, going out, they're not coming out and I'm not going in. That's all I remember saying.
Oh, what a night that was. Woo.
That was a night of nights. And we had to watch the auxiliary press box was by the right field foul pole.
Right.
But the Red Sox locker room was by the left field foul pole. So we had to walk like it seemed like 8 miles to get there, and down flights of stairs, and all the escalators and all that stuff, and that inning, because they were up 5-3 when we went to the bottom of the 10th inning.
Right.
And
there was a pass ball from Stanley, or was it a wild pitch? That's still the debate. Wild pitch, pass ball.
Yep. And
What do you think it was?
remember, like it happened yesterday, 1980.
I'll
And the
pitch
thing is,
back.
everyone thought that was the end of the series. They still had another chance to win Game
With
7.
like 3 days of rain in between, I think, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. A lot. Yep.
That's when Oil Can Boyd wasn't allowed to pitch in the last game. And when
Yeah.
I pitched first was Boyd was supposed to pitch, and Charlie Moss, the trainer, told John McNamara Boyd was not ready. Boyd always thought it was a racist thing.
Really?
Yeah, really.
I was not aware of that.
I did an interview with Oil Can. I'm not sure it ever aired, but Jim Burke, who was the producer of the show, has that interview.
Wow.
Oil Can talks about Charlie Moss dissing him, and Hurst pitched a really great game, and it's hurt in the 7th game. If they'd given any run support. The other thing was the Henderson home run that in Game 6. Remember, Henderson hit a home run in Game 6.
Yes.
Would have won the game like he did in Anaheim.
In Anaheim, right?
It would have been the 2 greatest home runs in Red Sox history.
No question. Yeah.
Anyway, that's all the stuff that we remember that's gone by.
Yeah.
So, John, I have to do this commercials. This is for Cold Springs RV for campers. I don't know if you're.
This would be good. Now, just imagine, John. Now we're back in the set.
Yeah.
Time how long it takes Lobel to read this
Shut the F up.
commercial and all the interruptions that go on with it. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bob. You're on right now.
Knock it dead.
Wait a minute. What am I supposed to not do, Mike? Just be quick? Is that what you want me to do?
You're already doing it.
I'm supposed to give our sponsors due. And
Yes.
that's what I try to do. John,
Then do it.
we did it on the radio.
Do it.
Okay, campers, buying an RV can feel overwhelming. And you got pressure, you got fees, you got pushy salespeople like the 3 of us at Cold Springs RV in Ware, New Hampshire.
Where's that, Bob?
Where, New Hampshire. It's
Where, New Hampshire? Okay, where?
north of Tingsboro, with my friends Jackie and Donald live, west of Goffstown and St. Anselm's College in Manchester. So it's northwest. It's in that Ware, New Hampshire area. It's on Route 114.
Okay, got it.
Look at them. No pressure, no gimmicks, just open campers. You can walk through at your own pace. Here's the deal. Cold Springs, they were started by a family of campers for campers. So they know how the toilets work. They know how the showers work. They know what to do when they don't work. They can give you the answers. Find the right fit for your next RV. Get to Cold Springs RV in Ware, New Hampshire, and tell them Lobel and Lynch.
Wait. Where?
Learn more at Cold Springs RV in Ware, New Hampshire. ColdSpringsRV.com. Thank you very much. I thought I really did a good job on
Nicely
that.
done.
It was very professional.
I'm talking to John right now. From one
I'm sorry.
From one pro to another. Thank you, John.
Quite welcome. Nicely done.
Okay, now Mike has some questions for you about this.
Well, you had questions. You talked about a toilet. Right after you're talking about the right fit for you, you said toilet.
I thought about it. I didn't elaborate on that, but you decided to go there. So
do you have to get do you have to get fitted for the toilet?
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
Oh no, you definitely do. I recently I was at somebody's house, and unfortunately it was an older house, and they didn't have what are called the comfort height toilets.
Oh, you can't get up?
The old low bowl, and it was a long way down and a little harder to get off of. So
Kathy, come on out, Kathy. I need some help, Kathy.
help me out.
All right, Dino. So here goes. We always follow up this commercial with a question for our guests.
Yes.
Since we don't pay our guests, you must be shocked to hear that.
Oh, I don't get after minimum here?
No.
Oh, okay.
You get nothing and you like it. How's that?
Nothing like it.
So you get to use this when they finally build it. Somebody called a Lobel Lynchy cruiser, better than the John Madden cruiser ever was. You get to use it for a week. You get to drive from the East Coast to the West Coast. We'll fly you back. Now, there's two rules. You have to, one, pick somebody to ride shotgun with you. It can't be either one of us, and it can't be Kathy, all right?
Okay.
It has to be somebody else. And two, you have to pick a great sports movie. We're going to fly a driver out, and for part of the ride, you're going to sit for 3 hours and watch a movie. So who's going to ride shotgun with you cross country? Can be an athlete, can be a politician, blah, 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 blah.
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive. Dead or alive. Yep.
I think it would be fascinating. And I don't know, how long is this going to take, by the way? How many days? Can you be just one day?
We'll give you 8, yeah.
Oh, 8. Oh, see, I couldn't do 8 days with Trump.
7 days.
7. I still couldn't do 7 days with Trump, but I could do 1. I think that would be fascinating because I think this is a very complex, very interesting, very unusual person. 7 days. Oh my. Let me come back to that. And I'll think about that while I tell you, it would probably have to be Tin Cup, I think. That would be 1, and then Caddyshack would be 1A. And I know they're both golf related, and that probably says something more about me than it does anything else. But in terms of a serious movie, not serious, but a less comedic movie, Tin Cup I enjoyed the heck out of, and Caddyshack, of course, is the second greatest comedy of all time. Dumb and Dumber being number 1.
Were you in Dumb and Dumber?
I was not. I didn't come to the Farrelly brothers consciousness until right after that, but I was in 4 or 5 more after that.
So tell me about the favorite movie you acted in.
Kingpin. Yeah, it was
a lot of lines in that.
It actually ended up in the trailer. Are you still drinking? Why are you buying? Peter and Bobby Farrelly showed up at a Jimmy Fund event of Cam Neely's down at Willow Bend on the Cape. And I was emceeing it that night. And they were getting ready to cast Kingpin. And they came up to me afterwards and said, oh, yeah, they're from, as you know, they're from Rhode Island. So they sort of kind of knew who I was. And they said, listen, we're looking for a sportscaster to join Chris Schenkel on the set and call this bowling movie. Would you be interested? I said, what, is that a trick question? Of course I'm interested. So, time passes and they eventually send me an airplane ticket to go to Reno, Nevada, the National Bowling Center. And I swear to God, you have never, ever seen a larger bowling facility in your life than the National Bowling Center in Reno, Nevada. It is so big. If you stand on lane 1 and you look that way, it goes over the horizon. It's so big. It's ridiculous. And that's when I learned that movie making is all about hurry up and wait. And the redundancy of how many times you have to do each and every scene and the setup before it. And then you do the scene and then you sit down for like an hour and you pick your nose and you're just waiting for them to, rearrange the cameras and adjust the lights and all those kinds of things. And on it went. So the classic for me was, my line was, I'm interviewing Woody Harrelson after he got to the semifinals and is about to go to the finals. And we're standing there together, and I'm talking to him. And so what have you been doing all these years, Woody? And he goes, drinking, a lot of drinking. And I said, are you still drinking? And he pauses and looks at me and goes, no. Why, are you buying? And I swear to God, honest to goodness, we did that simple 15-second scene 25 times. And each one was exactly like the one before. And Peter says, let's do it again. And I said, like more energy? He said, no, just do it again. We're going to have something to choose from. And on about the 26th take, I'm looking at Woody like this. And I said, he said, no, I'm not drinking anymore. I said, are you still drinking? He said, no, why are you buying? And I lost my train of thought. And I turned and I looked at Peter, who's standing next to the camera. And I just went blank. And I didn't remember what my next line was. I just lost it. He goes, that's it, print it. So they used my mistake, not the 25 that I did correctly.
It's a great story. I thought you would have picked Fever Pitch.
You mean as my movie?
No, I'm just kidding.
No, thanks.
Just kidding. I think that's a great story. I think
so we get back to who's a co-pilot on this trip?
Yeah, we're still talking about this.
Yeah. Yeah. Who do I find interesting that I would really like to pick their brain?
Pick somebody dead because nobody alive is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess I'd pick Jesus so I can go to heaven, I suppose. Jesus. I'll go with Jesus.
I know, seriously, you'd be the only guy that picked Jesus.
Oh, wouldn't that get you your own podcast if you spoke to Jesus for 7 days?
Well, yeah, well, it might.
Huh?
Sponsorship.
Yep. Who would sponsor that? See, the wafer and the wine company.
Seriously.
Talking about sponsorships, to get back to radio now,
Yeah.
you would go out and solicit sponsors, and would you get a percentage of something? I mean, were you involved in business as well, or is it strictly just as a host?
Our sales guys would go out and procure it and try to say, well, who would you like to represent, this lumber company, or who would you like to represent this kitchen company? And they would say, oh, Jerry or John or Glenn or Dale or whatever. And the ones who chose me, I didn't get paid, but boy, I got some swag. Oh, I'll take the new kitchen company. And so
that would never happen in television, right?
No, never. No. Well, we didn't do commercials in television.
None whatsoever.
Yeah. So I always try to glom onto the painting company. Was it Arch Painting? Is that what it's called? I forget. Whatever. The stuff that I needed, I would go to Chris Hennessy, one of our salespeople, say, Chris, do you have any painting companies? Because I really need to paint my house. Oh, let me go check that out. He goes, yeah, the Arch Painting wants to. I said, fine, they paint my house. I'll do their commercial. Done.
So we have this other picture of these 4 bats in Fenway Park, or the 4 of us. And I say the 4 of us because I was going to throw up the picture and find out who the 4th was. Who was the 4th, Lyncher? Do you remember on the picture?
Frank Malicote.
Okay, Frank Malicote.
Frank Malicote, 56, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In San Francisco or Sacramento now. He's still in the air.
Really?
I get tweets or something from him, or I don't know. But we got that one lying around. The 4 of us were hitting for the Jimmy Fund at Fenway Park. And
not hitting well, as I recall.
Not hitting well at all. I got back to the station and I did some editing. I had the pitch coming, me swinging, and then something that Dwight Evans said over the fence.
Right. A moonshot.
Yeah.
Where's
didn't happen.
I'm asking, where's the picture?
I don't recall this picture. I recall the golf picture of the 3 of us.
I'm not going to recall it unless we get it up either.
Yeah.
I remember I wore a bathing suit because it was so hot. See, I'm wearing a bathing suit there.
You are
in the far right, and there we are.
Oh boy!
There's Dino to the left. Lobel, Dino, Malicote, and then me.
And you
with my big bathing suit on.
Boy, this is scary. I literally have no recollection of that picture being taken. Do you guys remember this? I guess you do.
I remember we were swinging like hell, and if one of us hit the wall in one bounce, and it was like we hit a grand slam in the Wolves.
And warning power.
Yeah.
It's scary that I don't remember that. Maybe this might have been back in certainly was back in my drinking days before I got sober. But I do not recall this picture being taken.
I don't either, John. So it's all right. You're not alone.
Okay. Well, you were drinking too.
Apparently. I was getting
Lobel, I think your bat is illegal, by the way, Lobel. Looks like it's all
you see the cork on the end there.
Cork on the end of it, yeah.
Yeah, so you'd figure out something like that.
That's how he hit the warning track on one bounce.
So what's it like working with Ordway?
Well, actually, never. I don't think I've done a broadcast with Ordway, except with the exception of some, special Jimmy Fund thing at Fenway Park. And he worked the afternoons and I was gone at 10:01. So the answer is, I don't know. I never worked with him.
So he wasn't the program director at that time, or?
No. Jason Wolf was when I got there.
Tom Baker was the owner.
That gutless, spineless Tom Baker. Jeez.
Tell us a little more about it.
Well, obviously, nothing is off limits here. I just mentioned my sobriety, and that's fine.
Let me pause right there. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure, I don't care.
No, I
So,
understand. I know the story, and I think it's a great story, and I think it's
all the time you want, Dino. We can sit here till the sun comes down. Go ahead and talk about it if you'd like.
The sobriety or the other thing?
Sobriety, I think.
I was a highly functional alcoholic and a really good one too. I was fun to be around. I wasn't one of those angry kind of guys. And when I was doing television, I could drink during the week. But once I got to radio, and you know, you gave me credit for doing 20 years on WEEI, and it was fun. It was great. And made me a better broadcaster. But the downside was I had to get up every morning at 3:45 for 20 hours. Now, see, I'm really only 44, not 74. I just look like shit because I hadn't had any sleep for 20 years. But that was that was the downside. But once I got to radio and the 3:45 wake up call, you simply cannot drink on a school night. Can't. So I confined my drinking to Friday and Saturday night, and then my hangovers were Saturday morning and Sunday morning, and then maybe a little bit into Monday. And the older you got, the longer the hangovers lasted. And that's really what sort of made me realize that 45-minute to an hour and a half buzz from alcohol, while fun and enjoyable, no longer was worth it based on a day or then a day and a half of being hungover. And so I went to rehab in 2014, and they make you tell there were like 20 of us, I think, in this particular class. And it was stay away. It was like a month away. And you tell your bottom out story. And I'm listening to these people with their bottom out stories. You know, I ran into a minivan and killed a family of 6. Oh my God. And I lost my wife, and I lost my kids, and I lost my house, I lost my job, I lost my dog. Mine, by those comparison, was really pretty simple. It was opening day 2014. And I had kind of trying to curtail my alcohol consumption, and had done so successfully for, I don't know, a week or two, something like that. Hadn't had anything on the weekend. And it was opening day. And we broadcast live from the Fenway Park studios. And so we were done at 10 o'clock. And I believe it was going to be a later first pitch, not 1, but 2 o'clock. So I had time to kill. And I went up in the WEEI booth, and I'm, you know, reading emails and doing whatever, and just wasting time. And here comes the catering lady into the WEEI luxury suite, and she starts setting up the Bunsen burners for the food. And then she brings in a bottle of Grey Goose and sets it right next to me. And I said, you know what? It's opening day. I haven't had one for a couple of weeks. I'm going to have one. Now, at this point, I need to parenthetically add what I've since found out. There are essentially 2 kinds of alcoholics. There is the kind who thinks about it, lusts for it, wants it every single minute of every single day. And that's the worst kind to be. It's like, oh my God, it's this constant battle of, I really want to drink, but I can't do it. I cannot do it. And it's this constant 24/7 battle. I'm not that guy. I can look at it. The 3 of us can go out drinking. Kathy can have a Michelob Ultra or a glass of wine. We can go out with other couples and they can drink. Don't want it. Mine is a chemical situation. As soon as I have one, my brain explodes. Boom, I cannot stop. As soon as the alcohol hits my brain, there is this explosion. Thus the expression, 1 is too many and 10 is not enough. So that's the kind I was. And it's much easier to control yourself because all I have to do, the only rule I have to live by is don't pick up the first one. You know, I'm not sitting here at any point saying, oh boy, I would really like a Tito's and tonic or whatever. I don't. But if I have one, I am off and running. So, close parentheses. Back to Fenway Park on opening day. There were two parking garages nearby Fenway Park. And when I got to the first one in the morning, somehow it was closed. And I pulled in, and the guy came in, no, we're closed. We're not opening until 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, because I had to be there at 6 to do the show. So I pulled into the one adjacent to it and parked in there. That was open. Now I go to Fenway Park. The lady brings the Grey Goose into the WEEI suite. I have one. Now I'm off and running. Away I go. And by the end of the game, and I'm still functioning, I'm really good. I'm a professional. I was a professional alcoholic. I'm conversing with people, making sense, the whole thing. Get to my car, I go to the parking garage, and go into the original parking garage. 2.5 hours walking through this parking garage, walking through this. It's now, dark out, and I cannot find my car. And I have no idea how I realized that it was in the next parking garage that I moved to at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I finally found my car, and much to my dismay and my ashamedness, I drove home in that situation. And that was my sort of bottoming out story.
Wow. None of us knew this. I mean, did you know, Bob?
Not a chance.
Yeah, I was good at it.
Yeah, you were. You must have been, because I never, rumors kind of float around. You like to hear stuff like, but no, I never had any inkling whatsoever. That
good for you, by the way, Dino. Good for you.
Oh, thank you. I'll tell you what, I remember a hell of a lot more these days. But you know what? I always say, they told me I had a good time back in those days.
How long were you at this?
I got to tell you something. Some guys can tell jokes. Some guys cannot tell jokes. I am a not tell joke. I cannot tell a joke. I can appreciate a joke. I can laugh at a joke, but I can't tell a joke. You can tell. This is one thing I remember about you, John. You were the best joke teller I've ever heard.
I love jokes. I
know, but I'm just saying you were the best
Thank you.
teller of jokes that I've ever heard.
That means a lot to me.
Yeah. Well, I hope so.
Can I tell you my recent favorite?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay. A little old Jewish guy is walking down the path in Tel Aviv through the woods, and he looks down on the ground, and that looks like a genie's lamp. He picks it up and he rubs the lamp, and the genie pops out. He goes, "Your wish is my command." He said, "One wish." And the little old Jewish guy says, "One wish? What's with one wish? What happened to 3 wishes?" He says, "Now inflation." He says, "You get 1 wish." So the little Jewish guy reaches into his pocket. He pulls out this old crinkled piece of paper, and he holds the paper up in front of the genie. Genie says, "What is that?" He says, "This is a map of the Middle East. There's been nothing but pain and suffering and murder and strife and angst for thousands of years. My wish, Mr. Genie, is that you bring peace to the Middle East." The genie says, "Wow." He says, "I'm pretty powerful, but I got to tell you, that's way beyond my pay grade and my ability." He says, "What would your second wish be?" He says, "Well, let me think." He says, "My lovely wife of 69 years, Evelyn, has never once given me a blowjob. Not once in 69 years has she given me a blowjob. Tonight, when I go home, I would like Evelyn to give me a blowjob." And Jeannie says, "Let me take another look at that map."
See what I mean?
Yeah.
It takes a skill.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
You have to have people on the edge of their seat.
Yeah. And you may have heard my golf joke before. This is 1 and 1A. 4 guys tee off on a Saturday morning, and they're on the 3rd hole. And Bob and Mike are in one cart, and Bill and Bob are in the other cart. Bill and Joe are in the other cart. And Bill, on the 3rd hole, slices it deep into the woods. And Bill and Joe go into the woods to look for the golf ball. And Mike and Bob are sitting out in the fairway. Like 2 minutes goes by, 3 minutes goes by. What are they doing in there? So Bob and Mike go into the woods to see what Bill and Joe are doing. And Bill has Joe bent over a log with his pants down, and he's doing the wild thing with him. And Bob goes, "What the hell is going on here?" He said, "Jesus Christ, stop it. What are you doing? What's going on?" And he says, "Well, we came in here looking for Bill's ball, and he started having chest pains, and he got shortness of breath, and he fell down, and he was having a heart attack." And Mike says, "Well, for God's sake, when someone's having a heart attack, you're supposed to give him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation." And he said, "Well, that's how it started." That's it. I'm out.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
We read in Chad Finn's column last week that you had an unbelievable health scare.
Yeah.
It has a happy ending. Can you give us the Reader's Digest version of that one?
It's funny because all of us at one point or another are going to ultimately get hit by the bus. Sometimes you get nicked and bruised and knocked over, as the two of you have. But eventually we all get hit by the bus and, the dirt nap. And it was the Friday, let me think, before the Chiefs, the Friday before the Super Bowl in February of 2024, when the Chiefs beat the 49ers in overtime.
Yep.
That Friday before, we were hosting a big Super Bowl party at our house in Florida. And the test came back and they said, it appears that you have a cancerous tumor on your pancreas. And I said, does that mean pancreatic cancer? And they said, it looks like it probably is. Okay, what's the next step? And they said, well, we really want to determine whether it is pancreatic cancer. We have another test for you. And that one showed the same thing. And then a few weeks later, a third test. It looks like, and if you didn't know anything about the anatomy, and I didn't, but I learned all about it. It's like this: the pancreas is like an intersection of 495, the mass spec, like all kind of things come together there. Your duodenum, your stomach, your pancreas, your liver, all kind of things. So it's a very congested, kind of confusing area where it's hard to determine exactly where that tumor is. This went on for 2.5 months, taking these tests, 4 of them in all, and all 4 said the same thing, but not definitively. Looks like you have pancreatic cancer. Boy, it changes everything. You know, you don't give a shit about a three putt double bogey at that point. Yeah. And I made a video for to be how dramatic, John. A video to be played at my memorial to talk to my grandkids and my kids and a goodbye to Kathy. And I told people, you know, I ended it with a funny line. I said, please take care of Kathy. I do all the cooking and shopping at our house. She does all the stuff that requires brain power, the bills and all that sort of stuff. I do the dumb stuff, the dumb labor stuff. And I ended by saying, and by the way, please take care of Kathy. She has no idea where the grocery store is. If you don't take care of her, she'll starve to death. And then I said, I'll see you on the other side. And that was the end of it. I made this thing. And I put it in a drawer and I told Kathy where it was. And I said, I would like this to be played at my memorial service. I mean, I was that far convinced. So I go in for the surgery and they're telling me that if it is indeed pancreatic cancer, which is what they think it is, I'm going to have a Whipple. Have you ever heard of a Whipple? Not the Charmin guy in the store. A Whipple is brutal. It is the worst. They gut you from stem to stern. They open you up and they take pretty much everything out of you, including the cancer and the pancreas and this and the liver and the duodenum and all this sort of stuff. And they sew you back up and they put you on a bag. And then you take 6 months of chemotherapy and then you die. I mean, that's pretty much the only thing. Oh, I'm sorry. The only thing worse would be ALS, I think. So the doctor, Dr. Meredith, said, just so you know, here's what we're going to do. It'll be a 7.5-hour operation, and I'll see you on the other side. I said, oh, I just said that on the videotape. See you on the other side. And when I finally came to it, I don't know if it was that day or the next day, he's standing there and he said, my friend, he said, you just dodged 2 medical miracle bullets. He said, it was not on your pancreas, nor was it cancer. It was a golf ball sized, how appropriate, golf ball sized benign tumor adjacent to it. We took it out and you don't need chemo. You don't need anything. You just need to heal up and go home. You're absolutely fine. And that's the happy ending to the story. And I'm so thrilled, but I will tell you this, I have a scar. It's like a reverse smiley face across my stomach that I'm just hoping chicks dig scars because this is a good one.
Don't show it.
No. Trust me, I'm not.
So that's when my Pro V1 went. I was looking for a golf ball that we played. It's been missing all these years, Dino.
Yeah,
you swallowed it.
There it was.
Well, good for you.
Yeah, that was. It was quite the blessing. And
your friends that didn't have to watch the tape.
It's still in a drawer somewhere, but sure. It's amazing. And I know this sounds like a cliche, but when you have that diagnosis and you think, you've got limited time, it really does change the way you think. And it's, it's that old toilet paper thing, the closer you get to the end, the faster it goes. And it really does. I mean, you wake up, here's the first phenomenon I recall from that period of time, right after that Super Bowl in February. I would wake up in the morning and I would put my feet on the floor and go, okay, and then like 30 seconds later, it would dawn on, I would remember that I have pancreatic cancer, and it was like, boom, a smack in the face every single morning.
Let me tell you something before Mike reads the final commercial. I actually miss you. How's that?
Wow.
I know, that's a big one. That's a big get. It's a big get.
Wow.
Well, thank you.
Say that again, Bob?
I said I actually miss him. Men can actually be.
Sure. Well, as you know, I miss you guys too. I said, are we all showing up in the same place together? Which I would have liked to have seen you in person. But
didn't say that. Then she didn't see that.
Oh, he didn't. That was only to you, right, Bob?
That was text. Yeah, he wanted to.
Yeah, I said,
That special bond you guys have.
Oh, all three of us, I think.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And you went to Harvard. Wait, no, you're right. You're right. You went to Harvard. It was just the two of us.
I thought it was a Kent State thing. I didn't know if I.
No, it is. You're right.
Oh, no.
Right, Mike. You're out of it.
Mike, you and I shared the same agent and the same hairstylist for many years.
We did for many years.
Many years.
Same one now.
I just do the buzz.
But people say all the time, what you guys like. I said, look, when we're not in the studio, we were at the Garden or at Fenway or in Foxborough or on the road. We sat shoulder to shoulder to shoulder.
Yep.
I said, you can't not like the guy that you sit next to all the time.
Yep.
We had a lot of fun.
We
were competitive because it was very fierce.
Sure.
I mean, we'd all run in the day and the ratings would be on a bulletin board. We'd all look at it. Okay, then you break it down minute by minute.
Right.
And that's how we were. And that's
John and I didn't. You did, Mike, because it was, for some reason, you and Natalie and Chet and Dick had to do all that.
Yeah.
We didn't. Just went in and did our shit, and then we got out of it.
But it was a hell of a lot of fun, and I couldn't imagine competing with two nicer guys for how many years we did it, 20 years or something like that.
Yeah.
It was really a hell of a lot of fun. And this session right here was even 10 times better than I thought it would be. It was a blast. I had a lot of fun.
I did too.
Remember we said
thank you for inviting me.
No, it's our pleasure, really. It said at the end of the Chad Finn article, we were the luckiest guys in the luckiest place at the luckiest time.
You're exactly right. And much of it, as I said earlier, was enhanced by the halcyon days of the Boston sports.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was all the championships and all the parades and all of that sort of stuff. We were sitting front row center for all of it.
Unbelievable.
And your other career, the radio career, is a whole separate genre. It's a whole separate text for you.
Yeah.
I mean, that there's a delineation between your television career and your radio career.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you invite me back in the future, we won't do it now, but if you invite me back in the future, we'll get into the Metco gorilla story. How's that?
Okay.
You know what? Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Done deal.
We'll do that. That was a low point there, baby.
No, I know. I understand. I avoided that one today.
Yeah, I knew you would. Because
Well,
you're a gentleman. It would have been okay. We'll do it next time. How's that?
yeah, no, that would be really interesting. Lynchy, George Gray. Hang on.
Here we go.
Um,
All right, if you're thinking about a new vehicle, go where Lobel and Lynchy go. Go see our good friend George Gray at George Gray's Lexington Toyota. Lobel and Lynchy have been customers for years. Our families, I bet I bought a dozen cars over there. My family has too. Same deal with Bob. We've been customers for years because we know that George Gray will treat you right. They're family-owned and operated dealership that we trust and you can trust as well. Go see the big wheel, the great George Gray at George Gray's Lexington Toyota, 409 Mass Ave in Lexington. He's been selling Toyotas since the Revolutionary War 250 years ago, so he knows what he's doing. Absolutely.
Okay.
This was a
Get hot
blast.
flashes.
Golden Flash.
Get hot flashes. There we go.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, he's got a lot smaller forehead than Callahan. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he does. He does. But there you are. There's your shotgun buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's as high as you can get. So nobody's going to top that one.
I wouldn't think so.
No, Mike Milbury had Winston Churchill. So
There's Billy.
yeah.
All right, Dino. It was unbelievable how great it is to see you.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure, fellas. Thanks for the invite. I really enjoyed it. And
Yeah,
let's do it
you're
again sometime when somebody cancels on you and you need a fill in.
Yeah. We'll call
Yeah.
Kathy. No, with Kathy. Kathy's our next one.
Okay, good. Good.
Tell her I said.
Tell her where Publix is. That's
Yeah.
number one, right?
Right.
And that's great.
All right,
All right,
lads. Great to see you.
great to see everybody. Thank you so much, everyone. Don't forget to follow us on unanchoredboston.com, and we are always on YouTube. See you next time.